Hello, I am live. Today is Tipsy crafting to knit a cat toy. This is a catnip mouse sample that I got maybe like 2006 or so. And I am drinking a beer by the brewery There Does Not Exist. And it is a brewery in San Luis Obispo, California. I don't know if you can see that, but it says there does not exist.com. And this is an oatmeal stout. It is called Return to Earth. It's one of my favorites by this brewery. And I got a little pour here. I've got just under 8-ounce pour here. So I'm going to go ahead and have a little sip and get started. So I pulled out some extra yarn because I thought if I made this quickly, I would be able to make another one or something. So here's the instructions, and inside of the kit, it comes with, looks like a little blue yarn. It's kind of like a royal blue almost, and then kind of a more heathery blue. This looks like it is really rustic. I don't know if you can see that, but there's like little twigs and stuff in it. So that's okay. But this yarn is pretty old. I've had this for a while. And I think I got this, like I said, in 2006. I was working a booth at Stitches West in February of probably something like 2006. So Bully Woolies Knitwear knit kit in a box, catnip mouse sample. And then on the inside, there's instructions, and it says, "We hope that you enjoyed this sample kit and that it inspires you to carry our knit kits in your store. For more information about Bully Woolies knit kits, visit us at www.bullywoolies.com or call 207-542-8867. I don't even know if they exist anymore. I should look it up. But if they do, I'll put the link and stuff in my description box. And then the back side of this little piece of paper just lists Christmas stockings, felted cat and dog toys, throw pillows, felted handbags, tassel tops. And there's like some pictures there. Kind of cool. So, and then it says, "This mini kit is our thank you for stopping by our booth. For more information about our products, visit us at www.woolybullies.com. Enjoy." So, okay. Ahead of time, I did open this up and read the instructions to make sure I had the right size knitting needles. Oh, and also the kit comes with some catnip. This could be very, very old catnip. It probably won't matter to my cat, but I have some newer catnip, so if he doesn't like it, I can put that in there. And then it has a little tiny little jingle bell. So I'm going to put those back. But I figured if this was really quick, I could dip into some stash wool that I have. I always keep all the ends of my yarn that are everything that's wool based. I keep in a little bag, and I sort of have it in one of these like little plastic bags that I recycle. And then I have another little bag for cotton strip or cotton yarn and acrylic yarn, and I just try to save it all. So it says that with US size 7 needles, cast on 1 stitch purl. Next row, knit into the front, back and front of stitch, purl. Next row, increase 1 in each stitch, purl. Next row, increase 1 in each stitch, purl. Next row, increase 4 stitches evenly spaced till I have 16 stitches, and then purl. I can't quite tell if it's asking me to purl the last stitch or if it's asking me to do like a purl row. So I'll have to figure it out. We'll see. And then the last instructions say thread a tapestry needle and pull through the remaining stitches and then turn it inside out or right side out with the black yarn, embroider the eyes, nose, whiskers, and tail. I don't have any black yarn. Well, it could have gotten lost at some point, but I do have some other black yarn in my little stash here, so I could use that. And then you're supposed to stuff it with catnip and the bell and sew it together. I do have a little tapestry needle that I can go grab if I need to. So I do have 2 different kinds of size 7 needles, and I brought this out so I could show you that I know they're size 7 to prove it. So this is a size 7 circular needle. This is a super old needle that I bought at a thrift store, and I don't know the brand or anything, but I like metal needles because they seem to go really smoothly. And then this is a, I think it's Chiagu red lace needle. It's a lot bigger. So since this is a cat toy, I think I'm going to use the smaller needles. And since it's a cat toy, I'm going to use the really rustic yarn, this blue yarn. There's a lot of junk on it, but it's okay. So it says cast on 1 stitch and then purl. So I guess it doesn't matter how I cast it on. So I'm just going to start my cast on. And I'll leave a little bit of a tail in there. I mean, that's a cast on. That's my, and now I have to purl it. So I am a person who knits English style or whatever. I throw my yarn. So I hold my working yarn in my right hand and then I throw it around my needle. Some people knit continental style, which means they hold the yarn behind their work on their left hand and then they just like sort of like dip their needle into it and pull it forward. I've never really been able to figure out how to do that. So, or I just don't knit as quickly when I'm knitting that way. So I just haven't acclimated to it. So I did cast on my 1 stitch. I purled. Next row, knit into the front, back, and front of the stitch, and then purl. Okay, so I'm flipping it around, and then I'm gonna knit into the front, knit into the back of the stitch. It's getting tight here. And then knit into the front of the stitch. It's a little tight. Okay. So that all happened. And then there's a comma and then it says purl. I think that just means purl the next row. So I'm going to do that. We'll see. If I mess up, then I mess up. I'm just going to purl this whole row. 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 stitches. I mean, my guess is that they're just asking you to increase your stitches so that you can make like this little mouse body, like a little mouse shape type thing. So anyway, so I did the purl. Next row, increase 1 stitch, 1 in each stitch, and then purl. Okay, next row, increase 1 in each stitch, and then purl. So increase 1, it doesn't tell me how to increase 1. So I'm just going to knit into the front and back of every stitch to increase 1 for every stitch, and then I'll purl. So that's 1. So I'm going to knit into the front and knit into the back of every stitch. And into the front, knit into the back. All right, so I should have doubled my stitches. 2, 4, 6. Yep. And then I need to purl. So next row, increase 4 stitches evenly spaced. Okay, just trying to see, like, look ahead. So I also am a tight knitter, so this might end up turning out a little bit smaller than it's supposed to, but that's okay. It's a cat toy. I don't think I need to swatch for a cat toy, but oh, see, there's like a little piece of twig or something there. Anyway, moving on. Since it is a cat toy, it's going to be all over the floor in my living room, most likely, and it won't matter if it gets twigs in it or whatever, because it'll just get dirty from the floor. Okay, so I did that, and then next row, increase 1 in each stitch, purl. Oh, so I do that twice. I'm getting lost here. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a little piece of yellow washi tape so I can know where I'm at, because otherwise I'll just be lost. So I did this cast on 1 stitch and purl. I did knit into the front and back of each stitch and purl. I did increase 1 in each stitch and purl. So now I'm on this where it says next row, increase 1 in each stitch again and purl. Well, I'll shake out once I see how many stitches I have, I guess. So increase 1 in each stitch. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. So I'm going to knit into the front and knit into the back. Knit into the front, knit into the back, knit into the front. Oh, I lost my stitch there. Knit into the back. It gets tricky to do that. Sometimes my stitches are tight. Knit into the front, knit into the back. Okay. In the front and the back. I feel like one of those singers that's like telling you to do the shuffle. To the left, to the left, to the right, to the right. Clap 3 times. Okay. Front and back. Oh boy, that was tough. It's tough to increase so many stitches in such a little tiny spot. All right, so now I should have double the stitches I had before, which was 6. So I should have 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And now I have to purl my stitches. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. I feel a little bit more organized now. So I just did that second. Oh, now if I can get this thing off. Okay, so now I'm going to move this one down. Next row, increase 4 stitches evenly spaced. Okay, well, since it's 12 stitches, 4 stitches evenly spaced would be like every 3rd stitch. So I guess I'll just do that. Every 3rd stitch. This beer is so good. It's got a nice kind of chocolatey almost taste to it. It tastes really good, or I shouldn't say really good, but it tastes a little different when it's warmed up just slightly. So that's why I've got the can sitting here too, so I can pour some more when it warms up a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna knit, say 1, 2, 3. On my 3rd stitch, I'm gonna increase by 1. So 1, 2, and then on my 3rd stitch, I'm gonna increase by knitting through the front and through the back. Okay, so that's 1, 1, 2, front and back. Okay, 1, 2, front, oops, and back. Okay, and then 1, 2, and then front and back. 1, 2. Okay, so it says I should have 16 stitches now, which I do. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So I have the right number of stitches. And I'm going to just go ahead and pop this down. And then it tells me to purl. So I'm going to go ahead and do the purl. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay. So you can see as I've been increasing, actually it'll be easier if I show you when I move this over. Oops, I dropped my yarn. You can see how the increases look spread out there. Kind of cool. So now it wants me to work 6 rows of stockinette stitch. Stockinette stitch just means you knit on the right side and you purl on the wrong side. So how this side looks all sort of flat and then this side looks all bumpy. So I'm just going to keep doing that. And it says it wants me to do 6 rows. So I just need to keep track of how many, excuse me, I got the hiccups or the burps because of the beer. So I just need to keep track of every stitch. And since I'm drinking and I don't trust myself, I'm just going to get like a little piece of paper here and a little pencil and just mark every time I do a row because I feel like I'll just quickly lose track of it. Okay. This is all mine. That's okay. All right, let's do first row. So it says work 6 rows stockinette stitch. That doesn't mean 6 rows, or it means just 6 rows, not 12 rows. So 3 rows and 3 rows of purl is what I'm doing, but alternating. So this is row 1. I tend to be a tight knitter because I really hold onto my knitting tightly with my fingers, and that's something that's causing me pain. And I also have a tendency to knit in sort of darker places like on the couch, and I don't have good posture, so I end up kind of hunching over my knitting, and that isn't good for my back and my shoulders, and I don't take breaks often enough, so it just causes all kinds of problems. And I've been trying to I don't know, be more conscious of my posture and my knitting with the right amount of light so that I'm not hunching over and leaning over and stuff like that. But it's tough because I like to watch TV while I knit, and I want to hang out with my boyfriend while we're watching TV and stuff. And so I don't want to just go off in the corner in like a bright part of my craft room, for example, like right now, which, I mean, this is fine because I think he's like cooking or something like that. He's not interacting with me, but you know, it kind of sucks because I don't have a good setup for that. And also I think because I'm like hunching over and then like gripping my knitting because I can't really see what I'm doing and I'm trying to like do it by feel, it's not a relaxing activity because I just kind of hurt myself while doing it. So Anyway, so I did 2 rows. I'm going to do another knit row. That last one was a purl row. So 1, 2, 3. If I can make one of these pretty straightforward or pretty simply, then it might be cool. If my cat likes it, that is, it might be cool to just make a few of them and um, with some scrap yarn and just give them away to friends who have cats. I have a ton of friends who have cats because I don't know, we just all attract each other. So that's number 3. And I'll do this 4th row. Here we go. Purling this time. You can see it's hard to see on this on the webcam. I know it's not like the best quality, but it does look more bumpy on this side and more smooth on this side. So I am going to have to invest at some point in a better webcam or something, better camera for streaming these Tipsy crafting live streams because uh, it seems like this webcam that I'm using is not, I mean, maybe it's older or maybe it just isn't like high definition enough, but it seems like it's not giving me really good um, imagery, or it's like fuzzy a little bit. That's okay. This is what I've got currently, so I'm just using what I have. Well, maybe someday, maybe for my birthday, I'll invest in something. All right, so this is row 5. I just did 4. So I'm going to knit this one, and then I'll purl the next one, and then I'll be done with my 6 rows. So I've been knitting for many, many years. I learned how to knit when I was about 13 or so. I went and stayed with my grandmother for the summer, and I don't know for sure what how it got started exactly. I don't remember exactly, but I think I was just a crafty kid in general, and she was knitting, and I asked her to teach me, and she taught me how to knit using some yellow acrylic yarn. It was like a really kind of pastel yellow, a little bit more pastel than this. And she just had me knit like a long rectangle. And every time I would make a mistake, she would make me undo it to the mistake and fix the mistake. And I got so good at fixing my mistakes that, eventually I wasn't making very many mistakes. So then she taught me how to knit like this checkerboard pattern by using knit stitches and purl stitches, alternating. And once I finished that kind of a long rectangle, it was big enough to fit all the way around my body. So, well, why don't we just stitch this together and make a tank top for myself? And then she helped me stitch. I made like a little pair of straps and we stitched it together, and she helped me seam it and everything. So it was my one of my first projects that I learned how to knit was a garment, like a actual tank top for myself. It didn't have any shaping or anything like that, but it was still pretty intense. Okay, so I did my 6 rows of stockinette, and then it says next row, knit 2 together across. Knit 2 together across. I guess I knit 2 together on all of the stitches, maybe? I guess. I guess that's all you have to do. Knit 2 together. So, all right. I'm knitting 2, knitting 2, knitting 2. This is going to decrease it by a lot. Knitting 2. Okay. And I finished my very last knit 2 together. So now I should have 6, or actually no, because I had 16, so I should have 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, I'm just putting my little thing. So I can see where I'm at here. Next row, purl 2 together across. So I'm decreasing again. Purl 2 together means I'm combining 2 stitches into one. And then knit 2 together means I'm combining 2 stitches into one, but just doing a different stitch style. So let's do the purl 2 across. I hate purling 2 together. It just is fiddly for me. Okay, so I got my 1 purl. And I guess I'll end up with 4 stitches at the end. My second purl. My third. And my fourth, so I can end up with 4 stitches. Oop. Okay, so I've done that. Okay, now it says thread tapestry needle and pull through the remaining stitches, secure and sew part of middle seam, leaving room to stuff. Okay, just looking at this, like, this is tiny. Maybe it's because I knit so tightly. This is a tiny little, whatever it is, little ball. I feel like if I was going to make these again, it's so big. He's like a 16-pound cat. If I was going to make this again, I think I might use bigger needles and thicker yarn, or double the yarn and use like a size 10.5 needle, maybe. I might just do that just for funsies. But look, I have like enough yarn left over to make a whole other little thing. Also, I'm not sure if I want to put this little bell in here because, well, we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and try it out. I'm going to go get my tapestry needle. I'll be right back. Okay, I have this little tube full of tapestry needles. I think I'll just use, well, I don't know, maybe I should get one with like a little bit of a bigger eye because it'll be easier to pass the yarn through it. Maybe this one. Oh, it's not very tapered at the bottom. Hold up. These are all kind of different. I like this one. Use that one. Okay. I like having them in this little test tubey thing because it keeps them all contained. Okay, so thread it and pull through the remaining stitches. Secure and sew part of the middle seam, leaving room to stuff. Turn right side out. And with the black yarn, embroider the eyes, nose, whiskers, and tail. I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm not going to do that. Stuff the mouth with catnip and bell. Sew remaining seam and weave in ends. Okay, so when I'm going to do this sewing, I think I'm going to just measure about 6 times worth the actual body length. So this is 2 times, and this is 4 times, and this is 6 times, just so I have plenty. Okay. And go ahead and thread my little needle here. If I can get it through. Okay. So it tells me to pull through the remaining stitches and secure. I'm going to go in from this side of the needle instead of going in through this side, just because I want to kind of like close that seam up. So it doesn't really tell me how I'm supposed to do it. It's a pretty basic little pattern. So I'm just going to pull my yarn through that stitch and then pull my yarn through that second stitch. And then the third stitch. Oh, I'll just do them both at the same time. Okay, so now I've made sort of like a loop there. You can see it kind of goes around. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm closing the little butt up, I guess. Okay, and then it tells me to um, secure and sew part of middle seam. So I'm gonna just flip it outside in because I feel like this is the right side. Like this flat side is the right side. So I guess I'm just gonna go along here, and I don't know what the right way to stitch it is gonna look like, but I'm gonna just try to match up like bump to bump here. Sounds weird, but um I don't know what I'm doing. So I normally when I'm seaming things together, I'll go watch a YouTube video and see how somebody recommends seaming it, and I'll just follow those instructions because I don't feel very confident in my seaming ability. I'm just gonna do it there twice or go through there twice. So let's see, what about this little bump here? I can't really tell what that belongs to. So I'm just gonna do it. Whatever the case is, this is just a little cat toy. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but I am trying to make it so that it's secure because I don't want the bell to come out is my biggest kind of concern. I don't want my cat to choke on that little bell. And if I was making this for like a shelter, I almost think I would just omit the bell because I don't know how safe that is. Not that I'm like discouraging you from putting bells in your cat toys or anything, like if you want to go for it, but I'm just not sure if it's safe. I'm just going to do a second stitch into that. I don't know whether I'm going through the right stitches or not, but I'm just kind of trying to get it done. Because I want to see what the final piece, the final thing looks like. This is a tiny little cat toy. I don't know. Maybe it's gonna fit like work for a kitten because my cat is too big for this. He would just eat this. So it says here, like kind of sew part of the middle seam, leaving rooms to stuff. I think I'm gonna go a little bit further until I can just fit my finger in there, just barely. So um, at this point, I can't tell where the middle or where the bumps are, so I'm just gonna do my best to line it up because the stitches are hard to see. Um, and I don't think this yarn is very easy to tell stitch definition because it's sort of like a heathered yarn, but whoops, got a little knot there. Just have too much going on here. There we go. Maybe I made my thread a little too long, but I was worried about running out. Okay. No, we're just going to do maybe one or two more stitches here. Okay, I think I want to do this again. Like I want to make another one of these, but with thicker yarn and then make it like a bigger toy. But if I was going to make it bigger, I don't think I have enough catnip to fit. So I would just use like, scraps or some, yarn leftovers to fill it up. Okay, so I think it says leaving room to stuff, turn right side out. I'm not going to do the eyes, nose, whiskers, and tail. I'm just not. Sorry. I just don't want to do that. Embroidery. I don't even know how that would it doesn't give me any directions on that either. So I just have no idea. So here's where my like row of stitching seaming has been. It doesn't look terrible. It could be better, but it doesn't look terrible. Anyways, it's a cat toy. That's what I keep telling myself. It doesn't have to be beautiful. Okay, so then it says stuff the mouse with catnip and the bell. Sew the remaining seam and weave in the ends. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stuff this toy. I don't know how old this stuff is. Oh, it smells pretty stale. Well, that's okay. I mean, the worst case scenario, he doesn't use it. I just don't want to make a mess over here with this. I'm going to use this and sprinkle it in here, and then I'll use this as like a little funnel. And since it's wool yarn, or at least I think it's wool yarn, it'll biodegrade. So like if my cat hates it and I just chuck it in my backyard, it'll biodegrade over time. Or I can chuck it in the fire. Not that I would want to, but it wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't be bad. This is not, maybe I need to get an actual funnel to pour that in. I'm not having success with this paper funnel and I'm getting it all over my desk, which is gonna drive me nuts later. I wonder if I had opened this in the past or something, and then I did put catnip in it, and maybe that's what all those little leafy things were that I was finding, because that is highly possible. Or the leafy things are just pieces of catnip that got out of the bag and got onto the yarn. Could be. But sometimes with really rustic yarns, you will find twigs and things in them from the sheep that their wool is processed, and sometimes they have stuff in their coat that is little twigs and leaves and things like that. So I'm just gonna try and stuff it all in there as best I can. I'm trying to get like a good base of catnip inside of there so that I can put the bell in and it'll be like really tightly packed in there. So okay, just try and get the rest of this in here. There's a lot of little twiggy guys in there. When I stick my finger in, the catnip fills it almost halfway, so I think that's good. I'll get this little bell here, stuff it in. I don't think it'll come out. It's pretty tightly woven, I guess. I'm just going to pour the rest of this catnip in, try to pour it in anyway. And now I'm wishing I'd left myself a bigger hole. Oh well, it'll work. Just have to kind of like tamp it down every so often. This is the part in the video where I would be like fast forwarding it so you don't have to watch me painfully putting catnip into this. Well, it's everywhere on my desk, but that's okay. It's like, it's just, it's no worse than glitter, let's just say that. Okay, I'm just going to do the rest of this a little bit. I do have more catnip in my cupboard. My cat loves catnip. He goes crazy for it. So if this catnip is really stale, he may not be interested in it, but I can always make another little catnip toy and a bigger little catnip toy with some stuffing in it so that it isn't just catnip, just full of catnip. I've been wanting to make a cat toy for him for a while actually, and I just haven't gotten around to it. One of the things that I wanted to do is make him one of those toys that he can use his little hind legs on to like kick it, because he likes to give little bunny kicks when he's play fighting with me. He'll bite my hand. He'll like kind of wrap his arms around my arm and try to bite my hand and then like kick at my arm with his little back feet. And I think it would be cool to make like a little, I don't know, fish, a little fish of some kind to have him bite into it and then like kick the back of it, kick the bottom tail or something like that. That'd be cute. I've just been saving up scraps and stuff to try and make one of those for him, but I haven't gotten around to it. All right, so I'm gonna try this. It looks like I'm trying to roll a joint here or something, which I'm not, and I wouldn't even know how to do that. But let's see if I can get it all in there. I just want to try and get as much of it into the toy so that I'm not throwing it out. It's starting to get so full that it's hard to even get this stuff in there. So I think that's good enough. And now so I stuffed it. Sew the remaining seam and weave in the ends. All right, well, I'm going to do my best here to try and sew the seam well. All right. It's not the most beautiful thing I've ever stitched, that's for sure. Okay. For the most part, it's like closed up. I'm just gonna get that last little, oops, got a knot here. I just gotta get that last little bit closed up right at the top here. Looks like a little water balloon or something. um, it's kind of hard to like figure out how to go in the right angle and get this stitched. It doesn't matter all that much, but I just want to make sure I'm getting it all the way closed up. Oops. My yarn is kind of getting twisted up, so I think I'm just going to do one last little stitch right here. And then I have to weave in my ends. Oh, this is messy. It's like coming out. So now I know why they have you use a size 7 needle, because it's like a tighter. But I'm gonna go in here, and I'm gonna go kind of ladder myself down into the inside of this. So I'm kind of going like in and out over the seam that I created here, like where I stitched it closed. And just to kind of give it a little bit of, I don't know, extra security maybe. I have no rhyme or reason. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just doing it because it feels like the right feels right. Could be totally off base, but it's okay. And I also kind of want to like close up. There's like a little hole right here where I did like the decreases, and like some of the catnip is coming out of that hole and it's driving me nuts. So I think I'm just going to go loop my thread in there just to kind of close it up a little bit. But Okay, I guess I'm done. I'm just gonna stick my thread in here. I'm not really worried about it coming apart, but I am gonna just go in here and make a little knot. All right. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. It was supposed to not break the thread, but it's a really old yarn for one, and for two, it is 100% wool, I'm assuming. And I kind of want to like tuck that little end in. I feel like it's just going to come out. Well, there's like tons of catnip on top of my desk now, which is annoying, but I'm going to clean it up right now. All right. So now the test is to see whether or not my cat likes it. So I'm going to go get my cat and see whether or not he's interested in this at all. It's kind of ugly. I think if I was going to make it again, I would make it a little bit bigger. Um, and use some like fiber fill or something like that, or just use some extra like little snips of yarn to fill it up with, because it's really tiny for one, and for two, it just the stuff comes out of it really easily. I almost would want to make one where I can put like a little some kind of like a little muslin bag in there, and then just like take it out and replace the catnip when it's gone bad, like a little drawstring version of this. But we'll see. I'm gonna go get the cat and see what he thinks of this. So I will be right back. All right, you ready? Ready for the test? Taste test? Okay, so I have my cat here, and I'm just gonna put him on this table and ask him to sniff this. What do you think? Are you interested in this? He seems pretty interested. He's not used to coming onto this table at all. Are you going to play with this? Are you interested or not? I can't tell. He's sniffing everything on the table because it's new. So I can't tell if he likes it or not. But I'll put it in his little house. He has a little cat house, and I'll see if he plays with it and cuddles it. He's kind of sniffing everything here. What you doing? Watch your head. He's somewhat interested. He seems a little perturbed because I pulled him out of his little cat house, and he was hanging out in there and just relaxing. So, oh well. I think that concludes our experiment. We'll take you back to your little kitty house if you want. Do you want this? I'm going to put it on the ground and see if he thinks he's going to play with it. But so no, I don't know. I do think it's worth keeping this pattern around and making it again. I still have a little bit more yarn left. And I could make another one if I wanted to. I'd use this yarn too. But now that I've made it and I see some of the flaws in how it's constructed and how the like the catnip kind of comes out of it, I would want to kind of alter the pattern a little bit or rewrite it a little bit. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I think it's a good little toy for a, oh, he's playing with it. He's chasing it. He's chewing on it. Oh, he likes it. He's over in the corner, like looking at it. I wish I could show you guys right now. He's loving it. So whatever the case about the pattern itself, my cat is enjoying it. So, but I think, like I said, I would want to make a way to like open it up and remove the catnip when it's old and expired and the cat is no longer interested in it. And I would like to find a way to make it a little bit bigger because it's kind of small. My cat is a little bit bigger of a cat than your average cat, and I think this would be great for a little kitten or a nice little like housewarming cat warming gift for somebody. I'm going to leave my little strip of washi in here so that I can keep track of where I am again. But I think I might make a couple more, like I said, and do some experimentation. But I have held on to this for so long and haven't used it. So it'll be cool to do a little bit more experimentation and use up the rest of these little pieces of yarn. I would love to show you guys what he's doing right now, but it's kind of dark in the rest of the room. He is chewing it and licking it and loving on it. Oh man, he's so happy. So it's just, he loves the catnip part though. But I think, like I said, I'm going to try making it a little bit like double the yarn and make a little bit of a thicker needle. And I think he would play with it even if it didn't have catnip in it, just because it's like a novelty thing. But yeah, ultimately, that's cool. It was so quick. It was like a 30-minute, if that, knit. Not even 30 minutes. Took me not much time at all. Most of the construction was quick. It was just the actual stuffing of it because I didn't use a funnel. I had like a freaking piece of paper that I was using as a funnel. So I'm going to steal it away from my cat right now and show it again. He's sitting on top of it right now. So this is what it turned out like. It kind of looks like a little balloon or like a little, I don't know, dumpling almost shape. It's just like a little like round and big in the middle, and then it gets narrow at the two ends. So kind of like a little mouse. The instructions tell you to like stitch on some eyes and stitch on a little tail and stitch on little whiskers. And there's like a picture right here. I think that's what it's supposed to be, but I'm not going to bother with that. Maybe if I make a bigger one, I'll do that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed watching me do that. And comment or something if you want to see me make a little bit more knitted projects. This was a little tiny short knitted project. I have a couple others that I want to do because I'm trying to get slowly back into knitting again. I had to take a little break to help my hands heal up a little bit because I was getting a lot of repetitive strain or repetitive stress strain, I don't know what you call it, from my thumbs. And I was getting trigger thumb, where if your thumb is strained out, it'll get stuck, or if it's bent, it'll get stuck. So it's much better. Those are feeling much better now, but I'm trying to go slow and go easy. So I have enough yarn here that I could do another, couple of these in different colors. So maybe I'll make a couple more and see if any friends want them. I know I have a friend that just got a little kitten. She might be interested in having a little catnip toy. If it's something where I can figure out a way to replace the catnip, even better, because then it's sort of like a toy that you never have to throw away. It will always be recycled. And if it gets really destroyed over time and with use, then the wool that this is made out of can just be tossed in a fire, or it can be uh, thrown in the garden and thrown outside to biodegrade over time, because it's just an animal fiber. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. I'm gonna end the video now, but if I end up making a few more, I will post on Instagram and share if I did a kind of change the pattern or something like that, and if I make any updates to the design or anything from this basic pattern, I will share that pattern. I'll put it on my Ravelry for free. So anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you guys check out this brewery. It's called There Does Not Exist, and it's based out of San Luis Obispo, California. This beer that I was drinking is called Return to Earth. It's an oatmeal stout. I'm going to pour myself a little bit more. And it's a wonderful beer. It's really tasty. One of my favorites. I tend to like stouts anyways. So cheers. Hope you have a good Saturday night. Bye.